Dante Harlow. I see you've listed items for sale on the auction house. Who are you? Where are you? How long have you been here? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Josh Drive-Hayes, and this is part 3 of my cosmic journey through the surreal madness that is the Otherland MMO. Back in part 2, we journeyed through the slums of the Upper Bad sector, fought off a spider ambush, worked with Mr. Tim and his son, cut down some giant bugs, rode the awesome light tunnel, stared at Don to his boobs, fought through the infested jungle, died repeatedly at that one quest, and then spent 6 hours leveling a new class just to continue. We finally fought through the jungle only to discover Mars wasn't the next simulation, and now we're off to the chess battle land of 8 Squared. In this episode, prepare to meet the mad chess king, find boobs bigger than Dontaries, and discover the baffling state of this game's developers. Also, I send a bug report, so we get to see the awesome state of that system, and then the ending might leave a few of you a little bit shocked. As always, consider dropping a like on the video or subscribing to the channel for more MMO stuff, and ring the bell so you don't miss a single episode of this stupid series. A big thank you to my Patreon supporters and Twitch subs. The names on screen now are the people funding this crazy adventure. More info on this at the end of the video. For now, part 3. Let's go. I need to begin by saying, while I may have started this journey alone in a dead game, it doesn't look like I'll be continuing that way. Not only has another person added items to the auction house, but while running around the Lambda Mall, I saw another player. I did shout at them, but no reply. This is likely due to the Discord channel. Lots of you have downloaded and tried this game just out of curiosity, and as more people continue to do so, the chance of me bumping into someone will only increase. I mean, look, the Steam charts shows 3 people online recently. That is the highest the player count has been in 6 months. It's a revival, people. We're bringing it back. I try to head back to the water village and see if there's anyone there, with it being the first place you'll go and all, but the portals seem to work strangely and don't let me go back. Maybe you need to follow the story missions and can only return later. Also, while running around, can we just take a second to appreciate this animation? 2 lawkeepers talking to one very, very belligerent punk, and man, the energy this guy is radiating, the double middle finger. This NPC, he just will not quit. May we all live as boldly as double middle finger guy. Right, let's continue the main story. Oh, quick backstory. We are doing all this to hunt down some guy called Orlando, who is a simuloid, but also aware of that, and they're traveling through the simulations looking for reasons the simulations are going bad, so we are chasing them. Okay, plot established, let's go. Welcome to Snowdonia, the opening area of 8 Squared, a chess simulation that got way out of hand, and now there's people and farmers and orphans and stuff. This is also the first time I've been able to fall off a ledge and die, but you respawn right back, so no big loss. The area starts and what the hell? Again, a lumber mill, but the tracks lead to a blue digital window that what does it process the wood into code and change it? Why are all the NPCs just standing around staring at it? This is creepy. From the very beginning, the creepiness begins so early in this world. Now, fair warning, 8 Squared is more of a psychological world. There's still decent visuals, but this is where the game gets kinda meta, which I personally love. I run around the back of the lumber mill and oh yeah, it actually does process whatever raw material into blocks, actual perfectly square blocks. We are Minecraft now. This world is building itself. You might also have noticed this ice effect around the edge of the screen. Snowdonia is cold, and this is to remind you throughout. It also remains in the entire area. I'm fine with this. It's a little visual flair to make it look like your monitor is frosted over at the edges. It's small enough to not be distracting, but obvious enough to create atmosphere. It's a nice little design choice. We chat to Fredericks, someone also hunting down Orlando, and she tells us to follow her. We do, and we're attacked by a zombie. Now, I cannot harm this zombie, but it's also attacking Fredericks. This is the problem. I discovered that if a fight is scripted, as in a specific enemy attacking a specific NPC, you cannot join in until the scripted section ends, and your attacks will just do 0 damage. The enemy must be focusing on you for a fight to happen. Thankfully, you can still talk to Fredericks while Ash is being wailed on by the zombie, she explains that shaders, those digital enemy things, are broken bits of code from various simulations infesting other simulations and generally being annoying. 8 Squared has seen an influx of shaders recently, so we need to scout the village ahead and discover why. This is also likely what Orlando was looking into. This whole world is fantasy. This is the closest the game gets to traditional Tolkien-esque Lord of the Rings, rolling green hills and fantasy battlefields, and it looks fine. A lot of people actually said that Otherland was similar to a modern-day Lord of the Rings, with a lot of the story beats being kinda similar. The close-by village was a barbarian scouting camp, and everyone here is dead, so we venture into the nearby tomb and do some good old-fashioned dungeon diving, and yep, they're all dead still, but there are shaders remaining, so we clear them out. Let Fred know there's nothing but death and shaders here, and then move further into 8 Squared. Running across this foggy bridge, the ambient music is lovely. It's classical Spanish guitar, not something I'd immediately associate with high fantasy, but it really does help serve the ambience here. The trees in the distance, the muted tones of the bricks, another lovely environment wasted on this game. I do a bit of exploring around and find, oh, my first dungeon, Frozen Web Dungeon. Could this be a full actual dungeon? So I go in and I start taking damage from nowhere. So I'll just head straight back out and might come back here later when I'm more tanky. I can survive a lot, but random unseen damage is definitely a bit off-putting. Fred tells us to go and kill 10 shaders, and this whole kill 10 thing will become a reoccurring theme in this world. The combat, it's dividing me. When it works, it's great. Hits feel solid, special attacks have a nice pushback effect, the enemy animations are vastly improved, but it only works sometimes. Most of the times, enemies ignore you, hits phase through hitboxes, special attacks don't work. Basically, the combat here is as bugged as the story plot. The whole plot is about games not working right, and we are absolutely playing a game not working right. It's very meta. We kill 10, then follow Fred and enter Barbarian Village. Right, I know where I am now. Varrock to the east, Draenor to the south. Gotcha. The Barbarian Village, a load of long tents and furred up fighters with this lump of something roasting over a fire. It's not meat, it's clearly digital because you've got these chemical bond graphical images flashing over it. God, this is surreal. I love it. Chat to the barbarian chieftain. They are preparing for a fight, so he sends me to collect 10 resources. This means walk up to 10 boxes scattered around the camp and click them. This is just tidying. I'm tidying up the camp for you. Here's a nice touch. The blacksmith animations and the smithing sounds match up. Hammer noise happens when hammer strike visual happens. Small touch, but I notice it. And many games get this wrong. Nice one, Otherlands. How are you able to match this up, but you forgot to put footsteps on certain surfaces? Then, as I'm running around, a cloud of super intense fog rolls in. This isn't a glitch, it happens a few times, but damn, look at this! It's like taking a trip to Silent Hill. This is just another way they've built ambience and environmental immersion into the game. Oh, for everything you do badly, Otherland, I do love your environments. I've been in fog this thick before in real life, and yeah, this is accurate. You can't see a thing. The chief sends us to the shaman. We run up this hill, and again, the shaman has a little glade of life and greenery, plants, flora and fauna growing in this frozen landscape. This is lovely. What a nice touch. You know from the environmental storytelling the shaman is a powerful magician, a nature lover, and from the pleasant garden, likely a decent person. See? Narrative storytelling in environmental design. And just as I'm enjoying it, another issue. I open the map, I'm wondering what this natural oasis looks like on the map, and when I zoom in, no matter where your cursor is or where you are, the map will always zoom in to the top left. It's like you've locked the zoom in feature to expand the map, anchored in the top left point. Design note for MMO people. Zoom in should be anchored to the center of the cursor, wherever the player chooses to put that. The shaman needs 10 shaders killed and 10 essence extracted because quest design is hard, but thankfully I have found a solution to the aggro issue. You see, I visited a skill trainer and I bought a new skill. It's an AoE damage attack which makes every enemy attack me, but it works on every enemy, even ones that haven't noticed me yet. So now I don't need to wait for the enemy AI to pick me up and say, hey, I should attack him. I can just force start fights by running up and using my AoE ability. This is much quicker. Back to the shaman, she's concerned about the fact that when one shader dies, another appears and wonders if it's the weapons we're using that are wrong, which means go and collect 10 weapons from the floor, which is again just clicking 10 swords and picking up 10 items. I find it so hard to believe the environmental design team and the quest writing team were the same person, because they are worlds apart in terms of quality. Take 10 weapons back to the shaman, meet Fred behind the camp and have a quick chat, then get ambushed by the Red Army. Remember, this is still a chess game after all, so 3 waves of Red Army soldiers attack. Honestly, in group combat like this, just spam every attack you have. Something will likely hit. Eventually, the AoE is the only thing I can rely on, so I just use that. I'm also getting a new weapon every few quests, so my damage is scaling quite nicely with the combat. The progression curve in this game so far, for the tank anyway, is quite smooth. They've balanced the story to not need too much grinding. Yet. Enemies dealt with, and Fred tells us to meet her by the Red Army camp, which is just lots more running. And now I discover a really odd issue with the skills menu. Now pay attention, developers, because this gets specific. Page 1 of the skills menu shows 5 skills. The icons are in colour because I can use them. I scroll down to page 2. These icons are greyed out because I haven't bought them yet, or I can't use them due to level requirements. But when I scroll back up to the first page, the icons I can use are also now greyed out. Fix this. How does this even break? Also, later in the episode, I do actually send a bug report, and you'll see what happens when that happens. In the Red Army camp, kill 20 soldiers, more buggy combat, more awkward hit detection, more godlike AoE. Haha, yes, attack me, I am in charge of combat now. Sometimes the enemy will just have like 500 or so hit points left and just die. They just give up. This happens a lot. The HP bar or tracked numbers just can't keep up with my rate of damage, so the enemy just straight up gives up and dies. Another quest down, another sexy sci-fi visor. I feel a lot like a character from Flash Gordon. During my slaughter of the camp, I accidentally find the Red General. I get ready for a tough fight and... oh, no, just another enemy. Disappointing. Why do all these tents look like they're from the Fire Nation? Where's Zuko? Where is there some guys screaming about cabbages? Hand in the quest of Fred, and now the storyline actually gets really meta, and I love it. The barbarians want me to drive the Red Army back, because the Red Army is a simulation. They work on the programming of if and then commands. If X is true, then Y happens. So we have to break the commands in order to get the army to leave, and the commands we need to break are: if the general is still alive, then the army will stay. If the army has buildings, then they will stay. So we must kill the general, then burn the buildings. This is a really good story-based thematic way to include kill X quests within a narrative framework of a computer game. This is some excellent writing. So we burn down 3 tents. Now I've seen the burning animation before with the bugs nests, so let's see if they've gotten any better. It is much better. The tent model fades away with glitched textures, then there's actual flames. Why didn't this happen with the bugs nests? Finish up here, then report all this to the barbarian shaman. She is happy and sends us to find 5 scouting parties and coordinate a final assault. There's also a really nice line of dialogue. I think that the book author Tad Williams probably had a bit of a hand in writing the dialogue for this section, because the actual writing quality is really good. She says, "I'd say this is impossible, but you have proved that word has no meaning." That's a really nice line. The scouting teams, however, are doing what scouting teams do best and hiding in some really random places. I have to journey off the beaten path to find them, sometimes hopping over some mountain ledges, full on Skyrimming this mountain, and then this happens. Ah, bugger. I get stuck on a rock. I am jumping, so technically in the game I'm falling, but I've not touched the ground yet because I'm wedged between 2 vertical surfaces, so I just keep on falling. And you can't move while falling, so, right. What do? I just wait, and finally, luckily, I fall out onto the floor. But I can see if this happens in a bad place, I might actually get stuck in the game. Haha. Foreshadowing. Finding the scouting party takes me on a zigzag course around all of them one at a time, but when I run back through the camp, a snowstorm just rolls in and covers the screen in a white flurry. I adore the weather effects here. If this game had a better engine, you could have your characters covered in snow piling up on one side or objects being buried, but while the technical effects aren't there, the idea is. And now what I was scared of earlier happens. I jump down and get stuck. I'm stuck between a tent wall and the floor, but the floor is too steep to stand on, so I'm glitched into the falling animation. I can't jump or move or use skills. I can't do anything. I'm stuck. I try typing /killme, /unstuck, stuck, die. Nothing works. So I open the menu and I send a bug report. I actually let these kind developers know there is an issue with this exact part of the game. And do you want to see the bug report page? The page that opens when you click report a bug. This is what you see. It's not an active page. Right, so the game help is no use whatsoever. How about logging off and back in? Also doesn't help. You log back in the same place. Right, bugger. Thankfully, there is a respawn button on the main menu. I have a feeling I'm going to die a lot in this area just because of the scenery. The scenery in 8 Squared is so buggy. You can clip through walls and get stuck on anything, and we will see much more of this later. For those of you that enjoyed the intense ass graphics, running while holding a two-handed sword looks like this. Look at that absolute dummy thick model. Clearly the guy's been doing squats. I let the chief know all the scouting parties are briefed and prepared for an attack, and then he sends us off to Stone Cross, and on my way there, I discover this. This is an NPC just fighting the air, just going at it with his own shadow, so I stop to laugh at him, and then I get knocked down by some invisible force. Damn, guess the guy wasn't crazy, he was just fighting a ghost. Then there's this item on the floor. It has the F key prompt. When I aim at it and pressing F just makes a sound. Why? Why is this here? What does this do? Rock, what is your deal? Adventure through this mostly destroyed village. It's a perfectly acceptable fantasy village, and find the barbarians waiting outside a deserted tomb. They tell me the enemy isn't here, and I need to look around for clues as to where they might have gone. Now, a quest about gathering clues can be good if well written, but this is not well written because I don't actually look for clues. I just interact with random assorted objects the game needs me to in a certain order. I start by rubbing this stone pillar, then I go and fondle this book, and finally I caress this small crystal. And this tells me all I need to know. This isn't find clues, this is just go and touch objects to fill time. We find a portal atop some steps, shaders flood through it, and we fight. Oh, here's a sound glitch. When you collect multiple items at once and you pick them all up, all the sound effects overlap and it just sounds horrible. Have a listen. RIP headphone users, you will be missed. The shader boss now spawns and the fight is so epic I think I'll play it for you in its entirety. Wow. Just wow. This game really is a pile of unrealised potential, isn't it? Let the shaman, who is now on top of this hill, know about the portal and the shaders flooding through it, and she says, no problem, there's an ancient and powerful ritual that should be able to close it. All I need to do is collect some sticks, rocks, mud, and leaves. What's the plan, shaman? Are we gonna arts and crafts them to death? Are we gonna brick up the portal or just pile rocks around it? What is the plan? This doesn't sound like magic, but you know what? Okay. All the items I need to collect are in the nearby village. Piles of mud, some rocks, some plants for leaves, and oh, it's these rocks, the rocks from earlier. So quest items that you can interact with are always loaded into Otherland. They're just not actually usable for their purpose until you're on the quest. You can still interact with them and they still make a sound, they just don't give you the object. That makes more sense and less sense at the same time. This is so far the most fetchy of all the fetch quests. Gathering 10 of one item is fine, but gathering various amounts of 4 all within a small area is just menial labour. It's not challenging or memorable, it's just work. So we bring all the stuff back to the shaman and then she does this. God damn. Okay, I guess you are up, magic. She blows up the portal with a spell and we catch up with the village chief and we're both very surprised that actually worked, but now the next quest starts. A quest simply called More Bigger Issues. Find Frederick some distance away and she opens a light tube for us to fly through and continue helping the people of 8 Squared while we continue to hunt for Orlando. Remember, that's all we actually care about doing. The light tube flies us over the land and down into a misty forest. The ambience now shifts dramatically. The greens replaced with sober blues and greys, black shadows and creeping mist. This forest is definitely creepy, there's no denying that. I guess 8 Squared doubles up as the horror world. Fred tells us she's getting major creepy vibes from the NPC in the clearing ahead, so we, being the brave hero, approach, and guess what we find? Will it be a withered hag? Or a Lovecraftian monster? Nope, it's some boobs. It is so much boobs. Dontery is now a far memory. Friendship ended with Dontery, now Spooky Boob Lady is my best friend. I have known this NPC for exactly 10 seconds, but I'm all ready to devote my entire life to her. She tells me to follow her through the spooky forest, and oh my god, yes, it's happening. Forget Resident Evil Village Lady, I've got Otherland Forest Lady. We arrive at her cozy little cottage. She turns to me seductively and tells me her husband isn't around. Well, fantastic, and then she asks me to go and find him. God damn it. Fine, I set off to find this woman's husband, and along the way I find a creepy trapped soul that looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy mascot. Then we find this shop vendor who uses a child model stretched to adult sizes. So it's got this super unsettling childhood giganticism thing going on. The woman's husband is further into the forest, and he's actually part of the Red Army. He's a rook, that's a castle chess piece, and oh my god, I love this. Look at this. His shoulder armour has banding sticking up, referencing the rook's actual chess model. This is lovely. Character design based on actual chess pieces. More fantastic storytelling. Oh, so also I'm helping the red side now. It seems that while in the 8 squared world, the main aim is to prevent the world from being destroyed by shaders. The barbarians seem pretty neutral and will help both the red and blue to further our goal of finding Orlando. I quite like this, we're basically chaotic neutral. While running around this beautiful creepy forest, I look up and oh that's nice. It's like a platforming section. I really hope at some point I get to travel up there and jump along it. I can't imagine they'll actually let me, but still, the use of the vertical design space in Otherland so far is fantastic. There's always something above you to look at, and it serves to make the world feel real beyond the small part that you're in. Like here, I don't need to run up onto this bridge overlook section, but I can, and I do because the world is gorgeous and the designer has clearly just discovered the ambient light beam tool and is using it every chance they get in this forest. This world is wasted on this game. If you or anyone you know knows who developed and who designed this area, please, this environment needs to be copied pixel for pixel and used in something better. I mean, you'll need to patch up the random progress halting falling bugs and bits of the world that you can just break through, but you get the idea. Use the environment. Just maybe not the physics. Running through the forest, the darkened trees, the rolling blackened ground, the fog, the light beams. This looks like a dream and I love it. This is the reason I'm playing the game, that pure, unadulterated video game style, using the designer's skill to create a feeling, and there are moments when Otherland does that so damn well. Meet up with the Red Army Rook and help him look for some local survivors. There's only one dude by a wagon, so we chat to him and report back. This gets me the first Augment quest reward, little items that improve our stats while equipped. It's nice to know I'm getting to the more elite items and equipment section. Another gathering quest now, find 10 boxes of rations and 10 swords for the injured soldier. Not sure why he needs 10, but the designers have clearly decided they spent a lot of time on this area, so we must remain here longer, so here's a mindless fetch quest. Just throw this mindless fetch quest into the forgettable quest pile. It's the pile right next to the awesome design pile, they're about the same size by now. Push on into the world, find more broken bridges and cool scenery touches, and then this crystal cove. Oh, this is lovely! But, oh god, I keep trying to angle the camera up so I can look up into the sky, but it's always clipping into the grass and blocking it into the foreground. Look, this game is really awkward, which sucks because there's a lot of nice stuff to look up at. The game just doesn't like me doing it. I need to collect some medical herbs from this cove for a fallen soldier, and it's just beautiful. It's such a stark contrast to the misty black forest we were in, but there's a line on the floor, a very definite divide where the lighting changes. You can see me running over it here. It's not a slow fade into the next new style, it's just boom, immediate switch to new lighting. Inside the cove, and this is the first time I've seen the game use this effect, you can walk over these mushrooms and squish them into the floor. They pop right back up when you step off, but you can still squish them down. Why did you wait until now to use a fun effect like this? Gather up 8 herbs from this beautiful, tranquil, trippy garden, and this makes the Guardian appear. Oh, I've angered someone. Probably code designed to guard this place. So I prepare for an epic fight, and again, no. Just spam some abilities and it dies. I'm not asking for much, developers, just a fight that's challenging but winnable. Not broken, like the grenade from episode 2. Not easy, like the shader boss from earlier or just now. A fight that makes me feel like I've earned the victory would be nice. Return to the injured dude with the herbs that are definitely not drugs, and he seems happy enough, so we report back to the Red Rook and he sends me to scout for some local soldiers that should be around here somewhere. Unfortunately, they're all dead. Each group has been ambushed and killed by shaders. So we fight the shaders, and while fighting them, is it just me or do they squeak when they attack me? I'll raise the volume, just listen for a high-pitched squeak on the attack. Defeat the shaders, bring the rather depressing news of the dead soldiers back to the Rook, then go and check to see how our injured friend is doing. He says he's feeling much better and my code is looking quite tasty. Then he explodes into a shader and betrays us. Then he's joined by even more. We get surrounded, but thankfully Frederick shows up and whisks us away to the safety of Shard Manor, which is apparently where the king lives. So it seems that shaders aren't just random broken code anymore. They are now random broken code that can masquerade as simulation NPCs and kill other NPCs and generally damage the world. Good to know. I'm now sent inside Shard Manor to have a chat with the king, see if we can help stabilize this breaking world a bit. And on the way, I attack a zombie that I absolutely cannot hurt. Every attack he dodges or absorbs, but he can hurt me. So okay, don't fight zombies because they're invincible. Up the hill we go on our way to meet the Mad King, the linchpin of this virtual battlefield. I don't know what would be more intimidating, a massive monstrosity or a regular dude, and it turns out it's a regular dude. But they speak in rhyme. This is where the plot gets a bit odd. I mean, it was odd before, but now it gets odd even for Otherland. The king hasn't quite realised his castle is deserted and there's an endless war raging out of control, and he will help us find Orlando, but first we need to help him by going to the village below and collecting the taxes. Well, okay, I kind of feel like a bad guy here, but I mean, it does at least mean I get to ride another awesome light tunnel! Woo! Light tunnels! As with the other villages, this actual location looks nice, the scale is good, the colours pop, the NPC placement is understandable, so we start asking around, starting with Boris the beggar, who has forgotten his own name. He sends us to other specific NPCs in the village and we start collecting taxes. Fritz the innkeeper refuses to pay, just saying no, and look, his character model is great. Dirty white apron, moobs spilling out under one side, one leg. This is memorable. I'm really glad it's not just generic man. Boromir the wine drinker next. He also says no to the taxes. If only if it was this easy to avoid taxes in real life. Just imagine. Remember, the government can't take your money if you just say no. Now we meet Han the Shepherd, which is absolutely a Hannibal reference because he's watching over some sheep and he quotes Silence of the Lambs when you talk to him. Ultimately, no one agrees to pay the tax, so we are sent back to the king to deliver the news that nope, no taxes. Light tube, woo! The king is understandably unhappy with this turn of events and so appoints me as head tax collector and prime minister of taxation and tells us to go back and take the owed taxes by force. I mean, earlier I just felt bad, but now I've been given some power and a title. Remember, if you want to see who someone truly is, give them a little bit of power. So armed with my new government position and burning passion for bureaucracy, I head back and demand taxes. Fear me, for I am the tax collector. So the peasants don't have any money, but they say that they can pay in resources, which I deem to be acceptable, but I have to gather them myself. Oh god, wow. They can't even be bothered to give me the resources they collected themselves. What lazy peons. Just look at this pile of wood model. They've got the cylinder shape of the logs correct, the stack balances, the textures are fine, the colours match. And then they've just forgotten to trim the square model end texture from the end of the log. Just how? How have you gotten so much of this right? You were almost there. This is Otherland in a nutshell. Looks mostly great, with massive, glaring, obvious flaws. Collect wood from the piles to pay the loggers' taxes, then chase some sheep around to collect the wool. While I'm doing this, I'm thinking, How much time has passed? How long have I been here? The calm village, the ambient Spanish guitar background music, the early morning sunlight. I have completely lost track of time. Has it been 5 minutes or 5 hours? I don't know, and yet I feel strangely calm, strangely zen. This is a really relaxing part of the game. Oh, strange interaction with the sheep I noticed though. Normally, interacting with an in-game object spawns one of those wire-frame trophy items you need on a quest, and then you pick it up, like the pile of logs did. But not here, not with sheep. This time, interacting with the sheep just adds the item straight into your inventory, no need to pick it up. This is the only time the game has done this. It can't even be consistent with quest item design on the same bloody quest. Now to collect 25 bits of hay, and this quest makes me even angrier. Moving on from the inconsistencies of the sheep, this one gets semantics wrong. Hay is dried grass, and what I'm interacting with here is clearly wheat. Developers, fix this. Change the quest description to collect 25 bits of wheat. I get ambushed by boggarts a lot during this quest. They are small and quick and hard to fight, but the almighty AoE attack makes short work of literally everything. And then I see this scarecrow that's just floating in the air. Oh hey, somebody should give this scarecrow an award because he's outstanding in his field. Get it? Do you get it? Please like and subscribe. No, seriously, please do. I really want to stop making polls. Ask the elder what he will be sending for his share of the tax, and he suggests collecting some books from the nearby burned down house. He claims the woman who lived there used to be a witch, so we can probably just convince the king they're magic books or something. I mean, yeah, that works for me. So we go and gather 7 totally normal magical books. Ask the innkeeper what he's sending, and he says he knows of a secret treasure, but it's been hidden by some strange boggart. But the bridge keeper knows where to find the boggart. So we go and talk to the bridge keeper, who for some reason keeps standing up and down and then sitting during the conversation. Dude, just pick a position and stick with it. The bridge keeper now sends us to find the boggart, called Dirt, who according to the quest tracker is quite some distance away, so I set off on an elaborate trek up a mountain and eventually reach Dirt. He says he'll happily help, but he's lost his treasure and we need to go and find it, and I'm getting flashbacks to One Small Favour all over again, so okay. God, tax collecting life is hard. So I go full on Skyrim and jump down the mountain, but then... bugger. Right, I am definitely 100% stuck this time. There is no getting out of this. I have clipped through some collision-free textures and got locked in a mountain range. So I use the respawn feature and... oh, double bugger. You see, you respawn at the nearest portal, and my position on the map actually put me closer to the next area portal, not the village portal. So I've just accidentally jumped ahead in the game. I don't know where I am. I don't know what level this area is. I don't know how to get back. Right, this could be a problem. I run around for a bit before thinking, oh yeah, portals, I can just daisy chain my way back. But even this isn't easy, because while the map does show you portal locations, it doesn't show you portal names, or even area names, even if you hover over the portal icon. And not every portal is linked to every other one, so I have to just keep jumping from portal to portal until I end up kinda close to where I need to be and then just running back. Find Dirt's box, finally, kill the bandits guarding it, and break it open, then take the treasure back to the innkeeper, and he's like, yep, that is definitely my contribution to the taxation effort. You are welcome. Final chat with the elder, gather up the barrel of stuff he's sending in tribute, then take all this back to the Mad King. Hopefully he is happy with my valiant taxation trip. The king's thrilled, but now he has plans to make some golden saddles and reins for his horses, so he sets us off, finding 10 saddles and 10 stirrups around the castle courtyard. This is literally just another time-wasting collect 10 quest. But oh, fun glitch! This box generates loads of quest items, and collecting them all does that horrible sound thing again. And on the wall over here, there's another icon. This seems to be crafting or upgrading, but it's not showing anything on any tab, so either the system is down or I have nothing to interact with it. Maybe both. I will probably explore this more in a later episode, likely becoming the only person on the planet able to explain how Otherland's upgrading system works. I've also only just noticed this, but look really hard and you'll see that the collect 10 wool quest box is burned into the middle of the screen. Only faintly, but it's not unloaded. It's just like it started to fade away and then stopped. And this will remain for quite some time, and I've pointed this out now because I know it will really annoy some of you. Let the king know we've got all the horse equipment and he sends us to the village blacksmith to have it all repaired and fixed up. So back down the tube we go. This part really is just back and forth the game. Back at the village, and the elder wants to talk quickly. He says we are being manipulated. There are no horses. There have never been any horses, and the king is imagining the whole thing. And if we keep following orders, we'll be dragged into the madness too. The blacksmith basically confirms this. Then we hear that Frederick's has been looking for us and might have some information on Orlando, so we can stop this weird charade and head off to find her. The elder tells us to go south. Then I spot, probably, the most broken part of the game so far. And I only spot it now because no one has said north or south up to this point. The minimap to the bottom centre of the screen has the letter N on top, clearly referencing north. But it doesn't mean anything because the minimap spins as we turn, but the N remains graphically on top. So it's never north, because whenever you run forward, you are always running up in relation to the minimap. So that means it always looks like you're heading north. I have not changed the map settings. This is standard. Oh, developers, oh no. You clearly put the N on the minimap edging because that's what you've seen done before. But then you've not made it have any actual relevance to which way is north. To know which direction is north, you have to open the world map and make sure you're heading up. Oh, this is such a schoolboy error. Compass navigation hasn't mattered until now. And now when you say go north, the compass you've given me doesn't work. I've not had any reason to notice this, but now I have. It's so stupid. While running north, or south, or east, or whatever, I can't deny how cool the giant floating pawn in the sky looks. This area might be full of mindless fetch quests, but it's got style. Find Fred, get ambushed, fight the enemies, then go and find Fred again, and she gives us a bit more plot. The simulation code of 8 squared is damaged, and there are odd portals showing up around the place, like the barbarian one we killed earlier. The portals are bringing in rogue code, shaders from other simulations into this one, so we need to investigate and discover where the portals came from and how we close them. We find a portal close by and ring the bell, and then it summons a flame beast. Watch as the epic battle between man and beast unfolds, and the beast just doesn't bother retaliating. Every time I expect something to be epic, it just leaves me feeling disappointed. We tell Fred about the beast and she thinks this is a problem because nothing big should be able to come through the portals, especially enemies or NPCs from one simulation into another. There are some more local portals to mess with, so we interact with all of those and spawn some mythical tigers, then some giant ants. Oh, these are actually giant, they are way bigger than the bug planet. And then some of these cool faceless trees from the water village earlier. Fred says the portals are clearly bugged and connections between simulations shouldn't happen like this. She then says, I'll create a light tube to take us to safety. She then runs off and the created tube is like 5 minutes walk away. Come on, Fred, if you can make light tunnels, just make one that starts where we are. Oh, this tunnel takes us to where I managed to glitch respawn to earlier. Right, I get where we are in the world now, playing the game as intended. Fred tells us this area isn't safe. She's not sure why, it just seems dodgy. And we see all these ghostly figures walking toward a central energy vortex. So we run up the path away from the vortex and meet Numalina, a barbarian scout. They lead us to the barbarian outpost, and I'm getting sick of the collect 10 wool shadow, so I reload the game. Which annoyingly fails the quest. So back down to the hill and follow them up again, and my sword, is that part of the Neo Buster sword from Final Fantasy Advent Children? That looks really similar. I'm not sure which design came first, but that is very derivative. Right, now we can continue. We are sent to talk to the leader of the barbarian tribe called Mackie D. Seriously, the leader is called Mackie D. Now I don't know if this was in the books, or if McDonald's was even called Mackie D's in popular culture when this was written, but wow, okay. Barbarian Mackie D, let's do this. Also, Amazonian women, brilliant. If this whole finding Orlando thing doesn't work out, it shall be death by snoo for everyone. I meet Mackie D. Now, despite having a dumb name, he is an interesting character. He's fully aware he's part of a simulation and part of the code, saying how the barbarian is his coded appearance, but he's actually much more intelligent than he lets on, and his job is to keep balance between the warring armies and try to keep the simulation stable. But there's an issue. The energy vortex we saw earlier is the soul's spirit well, a connection between simulations that small bits of code, NPCs or items, can travel freely through. However, recently, bigger things have been appearing and smaller programs have been disappearing at a vastly increased rate. NPCs have been uncontrollably driven to jump into the well, and he thinks this is causing most of the glitches and portals to appear. We travel down to investigate, and I consider jumping down the mountain edge to get there faster, but I don't feel like getting stuck again, so down the path we go. The random bits of code going into this data well, which is literally a well model, aren't alone. They're being attacked and killed by data wraiths, which is such a cool name for a band. Data wraith. I'd listen. In quite a sad touch, there's a ghost of a girl crying because she lost her dad. He jumped into the well and hasn't come back out. Now Fred says this is all a bit bad, and we get to killing 5 wraiths while she analyses the situation with her magical analysis machine. Fred explains the 8 squared code is being pulled through to be used elsewhere, but she's not sure where, so we go back to the barbarian outpost and then they attack Fred because they assume she is a bad guy, which is a nice narrative touch, because the last simuloid who passed through here was quite aggressive, and that was likely Orlando. Now they say that Orlando went to talk to the magical spirit maiden, so we go and have a chat to her as well. She's found up in this orchard. The orchard is lovely. It's a really ambient place, great colours, again another great place wasted on a game that nobody will play. Thoria, that's the spirit, says yes, she did speak with Orlando and the spirit well is indeed bad news. Seems lots of simulation worlds are breaking and data is being pulled from all of them and going somewhere. But before she can help, she demands that we go back to Mackie D and support the barbarians against the attacking Red Army, because if the barbarian bastion is overrun, then either army will gain control of the spirit well, and that would be really bad for the simulation code. Ronald Mackie D, tells us that the Red Army is attacking and we need to defend the camp before focusing on the spirit well. So I run to a local shop, sell off all my extra stuff, enjoy that lovely shop sound again, and then make my way through the outpost and onto the battlefield. The battlefield is strange. The quest is to kill 15 red soldiers, and on one hand, you've got great touches like dead NPCs, arrows sticking into the ground, a realistic defensive barrier, and on the other hand, you've got NPCs from both sides just standing around, only a few feet from the enemy, not engaging them. That looked stupid. I do, however, love how the Red Army healers look like the bishop chess pieces. They've continued that stylistic choice. We kill 15 and it takes some time because melee combat is inconsistent as hell. Then we return to Mackie's to let him know we've helped him, and this happens.
The software installation went very well.
Again, what the hell? So we fight the screaming, horrifying thing and then, oh, it's actually rather easy. Oh, and Mackie D is back, seems he can respawn. The screaming thing was called the Neo Grail. Now this was mentioned by a dying soldier in a museum in the tutorial. I'm guessing it's a program that can travel between simulations and kill NPCs at will, which actually sounds really cool. Now, while Mackie D can respawn, it takes energy and he needs more. So we're sent through the village to talk to Pumpy K, or Pumpk, not sure how that's pronounced, and oh, hello there. This is the Resource Master, and she needs some highly coded items to speed up Mackie D's respawn timer. Just so happens that arrows and stuff are highly coded, and there's a battlefield nearby. So off we go to collect 15 things. Wonder if I can get the camera to just gently, clip inside the, yeah, there we go. There's the thumbnail. Collect the arrows, but oh right, we also need some crystals, so into the Frost Fist Valley we go. Oh god, the textures and the lighting, these crystals look lovely. They've got decent reflections and refractions going on. How can you design and place crystals to look so beautiful, but you can't stop me getting trapped between a tent and the wall? This area is also the first time I legitimately die in quite a while. This was my fault. I bit off more than I could chew and the giant lizards killed me. So okay, I guess the game is becoming challenging. This is good. Keep this up, game. Oh, seems that's not enough though either. We now need 15 leather scraps and 10 magical herbs, so, how do I get there? Do I go through the Crystal Place? Is there a linear path? Oh no, it's back to the battlefield and around. Okay. The leather comes from killing wolves and the herbs just respawn, and this is quite boring. So while I'm doing this brain-dead quest, let's look into the history of this game. Originally created by DTP Entertainment, the people behind the amazing point-and-click adventure Black Mirror and Black Mirror 2, and then the less amazing Mystery of the Druids, the company didn't really have any experience in the MMO world, or the action world. Oh, side note, if you want to watch an excellent playthrough of those games, check out Ross's Game Dungeon on the channel Accursed Farms. I'll link it below, he is a fantastic YouTuber. I checked out DTP's website and clicked on the free-to-play button at the top, and every single one of their games links to a dead site. Absolutely none of their games have any active web pages, and this is their official page. So Otherland was scheduled for a 2012 release, then cancelled, then 2 years later in 2014 picked up by Drago Entertainment, who have it today. Now, Drago don't have many games to their name at all, and almost no big ones. They are essentially an indie studio focusing on simulation games. They released Otherland on Steam in 2015, but it was taken down due to technical issues, then put back up in 2016, which is where it has remained. Sometime mid-development, it was remastered as Otherland Next, which is the version I'm playing now. But as we don't have much documented stuff from the original, it's hard to do a side-by-side comparison. This is where it gets weird. Drago Entertainment do have a website, but it's not secure, and they do have other games, such as Paparazzi Simulator, Detective Simulator, Food Truck Simulator, and Gas Station Simulator, which I have to say does look like the most in-depth video rendition of running a gas station I've ever seen. Their larger projects seem to be called Red Frost, which is a survival horror in a frozen wasteland, and Oil Tycoon 2, a game released back in 2005, which I'm pretty sure I've played. Otherland is the only MMO on their website from what I can see, and also it's the only game with a Play Now button on the website. Every other game is coming soon. Using the hyperlinks in the website, you can also travel to the official Otherland Next webpage. There, you can find the following: an embedded YouTube video advert. But when you click through to watch this video on YouTube, you can discover it has 85,000 views and is actually unlisted, meaning the only way you can view this is by going to the Otherland website, and it automatically plays, which means the Otherland website has likely been visited by 85,000 people or less. And then if we slow this trailer down and go frame by frame, we get this screenshot of the UI, which is nothing like the game as it is now. They are using straight up wrong footage in the trailer. This also lets us find that Drago Entertainment has a YouTube channel, which currently has just over 500 subscribers, and their most watched video of all time is a trailer for a survival horror called Frostfall. So I did some digging, and Frostfall had to change its name to Red Frost. I don't know why, but probably because if you search for Frostfall, you get the excellent Skyrim survival mod instead. Now, the latest video from Drago Entertainment was posted on YouTube, what the hell, several hours ago? Damn, I guess they are still active. I wonder if they'll see this video. Back on the Otherland main site, and I wonder what happens if you click the play for free link at the top. Oh, it's not a private connection and my security warns me against it. How about news? Same issue. And forums? Yeah, same again. There is also a link to their official Twitter page at the bottom. The latest tweet was in June 2020, advertising a double Soma weekend, and it has no comments, likes, or retweets. Back to the actual game, and I have finally found a combination that works, and why it works. The AoE attack grabs the aggro from every enemy, meaning I can actually attack back. And then I've got a HP siphon ability, but this needs me to actually aim the crosshairs on the enemy. Even if this would put the camera quite a way away from the enemy, the crosshairs are what matters for this attack. So I can AoE, then HP siphon, then spam attack, and basically just win most fights. Looking around and I find this edging texture. It's clearly an incomplete part of the map. They likely never expected anyone to make it here. Wonder how close I can get before I get stuck. So I creep closer and... bugger. Turns out you can get that close. Alright, another respawn. Oh god, the respawn point is so far away from the quest area I was at, so I run all the way back. God, this takes a while. There's no mounts in this game either, so it's always running. I do consider fixing my armor as I run past the shop, but there's no point really. I'll just get a better piece within a quest or two. You know, when combat works, it works really well, and if the enemies respond and if attacks land, it feels nice. It's just so unlikely that ever actually happens with any consistency. Finally gather all the stuff and return to Pump PK, and she tells me Mackie D will now respawn faster and I should go and help DK, who's down on the battlefield. DK is quite easy to find, he's by the gate and he needs help finding willing barbarian warriors, so he sends me to find some. So I follow the quest icon and it stops. Right, I run around and okay, it takes me some time, but I've figured it out. Some quests need you to complete objectives within an area, but it doesn't want to make it too easy for you, so it just lets you know that you're in the general area. This is one of those times. I need to gather 4 willing programs. That means talking to 4 NPCs in the outpost somewhere, but unlike the water village where I got sent from NPC to NPC, this time there's no guide at all. No markers above anyone's head. No visual clues, no hints, and not everyone wants to talk to you. So I have to spend 10 minutes running around the village trying to find 4 barbarians I can actually interact with. And here's an annoying touch. Some of them say no. So you get all excited, you're like, yeah, I found an NPC I can talk to, the quest can progress. And then it's like, nope, I don't want to help you. Not going anywhere. Finally, I gather all 10 and we go and assault the Red Army camp together. Once again, we need to kill 15 soldiers. While the story design may be interesting at parts, the quest mechanics definitely aren't. Here's a really annoying bug. This tough enemy is a special enemy used in a quest later, so I can't target or attack him. But my AoE will still hit him and aggro him onto me. So he starts retaliating, but I can't attack back. The only way I can not die is by waiting for my AoE to cool down and keep using it to kill him. I kill 15 regular enemies, then several superior enemies, then go back to DK and then the assault squad and catapult. Pathetic. Trebuchet? Superior siege engine. Back into the enemy camp again, this time take down the enemy leaders and plant some bombs around the camp. The Red General is a pathetic excuse for an elite enemy and dies in seconds. The camp blows up and we are treated to this cutscene, which unfortunately doesn't really have the visual flair of any of the others. Maybe they let the intern design this one. Oh sweet, got my first back slot item. You know you're getting better when we get new equipment items. Return to Mackie D with news of the Red Army's retreat, and now we're in a safe enough position to investigate the Spirit Well. We meet Fred again by the well entrance, and I get given my first blue weapon. Ooh, new rarities. Starting to feel like a real player. Fred analyzes the well, a few NPCs join to help study some more, and everyone then gets attacked by Reapers and rogue red code, so we fight wave after wave of enemies and eventually we have some answers. Just as Fred is about to tell us something, we get ambushed, as is becoming the norm. I should just expect it now when talking to anyone. We fight an NPC called the Assassin, written in Leet speak, so letters are replaced with numbers, only to be told the code of the enemy was strange and they didn't completely die. Fred says the portals have picked up an anomaly at a place called Oyster House. It's an orphanage for children of the 8 squared realm. So we run through the portal and check it out. Oyster House, the portal that it takes us to, is situated atop this lovely picturesque hill. It's a beautiful rolling meadow with wildflowers growing and a gorgeous view of the lake below. We speak to a young girl called Shiloh, who agrees to take us to the orphanage, but only if we pick 10 flowers. Of course, I'm used to doing things 10 times. Why would I not do it for you, Shiloh? You know, honestly, picking the flowers in this area, and it's just lovely. The vista overlooking the serene fields below with the ominous chess pieces floating in the sky is wonderfully surreal. I enjoy existing and gaming within this environment. Hand the flowers back to Shiloh and she leads us down the path toward the orphanage, and then the game lags. Quite badly. Freezes actually. And then crashes. Oh no, this is the second crash so far. Please don't let this be an issue. I have to admit, this is the kind of thing I was scared of, finding a place in the mid to late game that's just broken. So I reload the game and, well, just watch. Oh no. It crashes again. At the same place. And because I am logged into that place, it crashes every single time I reload the game. And this isn't an issue of class or failing a quest, this is just a straight up crash. I'm 30 hours into the game. I'm invested in the game, in this video series, and this is bad. So, until we know whether there is a part 4 or not, a massive thank you to my Patreon supporters and Twitch subs who have made this channel and this series possible so far. You can support the Patreon from only £1 a month. Check the video description below for links to the Patreon, Twitch, Twitter, and our Discord channel. And as always, have a great day.